I do have some questions I want to kind of get into at the end, so things I want you to think about. Really, and then I'll be actually sending out more. So we're looking at revamping sales meeting, okay? So with that, things I want you guys to think about are what's important to you. I want this to be valuable time, engaging time for everyone. So we're trying to figure out what's going to be the best thing for you. So at the end of this, you guys can think of something either just throughout. I'm just throwing at me at the end, but then we'll get an email out. It's going to take a little while as we kind of restructure this. I still have stuff, obviously, related to Coldwell, slides that are coming in, but we also want to make sure that it's more beneficial to you guys. Okay, so
we want your feedback. Like,
yes,
we don't want to decide what's best for you. You decide and let us know. What do you want to see? What do you want to talk about? How can we make these mornings valuable?
Yeah, so I want to focus on that. So think of that, like I said, jot things that you notice or don't notice throughout sales meeting. You guys at home, same thing. I'm going to be putting together a survey or something later to get out to everyone, because I know not everybody's watching this right now anyway. But I really want this time to be valuable to you all. So with that, let's kind of jump in. We have a lot of time today, but this one I know is going to kind of, okay, listings, we're getting close, you guys. We're catching up to last year. Under contracts, almost 50% down. But notice the timing. Remember, this time last year was just before the interest rate change. Okay, so we had a lot more going on at that time moving into 2022. Shortly after that, this is kind of where we're at. So I don't want this to freak people out too much, but this is currently, as you all know, you're feeling it, right? We're feeling what the market's been doing. This is currently where we're at when it comes out of contracts. So again, 223 versus 406 last year. And then you go ahead. I can see you want to say something.
Nothing's to say. We are closing the gap here. Like, we were way further behind earlier in the year. So we are making progress. We feel the momentum. I hope you guys are all feeling it. Multiple offers are back. We have a pretty strong market here. So if everyone in this room got one more listing in May, we would be up to last year's numbers and better.
Yes.
As the new fee structure.
No, because I think as we talked about, as Johnny talked about last time with that fee structure, you mean mortgages?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
LP,
yeah, that where they
LP.
question
Well,
the
that
dollar.
actually went into effect. They were explaining, the reason I wanted Johnny to talk about it is because it went viral. So everybody started turning it into a political football more than anything else, right? And so, but that was all implemented in January. Most of those fees and interest rates, anything that was adjusted in that, because in order for the mortgage companies to resell those loans, they had to have a certain time frame when that loan is delivered. So they started implementing those locks, I guess, much earlier. So anyone really in the market felt it then. It wasn't going to happen May 1st, and then that was just when the deadlines for anything being delivered.
So it wasn't as much a shock to the system as we've been led to believe.
No,
and
it's just bad
exactly
news.
it.
Right?
That was why I wanted him to speak to it, because it wasn't this big shock all of a sudden.
I wasn't here last week, so.
Yeah, so I had Joni kind of speak to that, kind of explain what it was and what that difference was. So also just a little good news, maybe you want to talk to buyers as well. Couple things when we talk about the downturn, right? Remember, real estate's local, okay? National news keeps talking about this downturn. We're not national. The highest median price ever in the history of Utah real estate was $650,000. That happened in May of 2022. Okay. Since that time, June through January of 23, we lost about 18% in median price value. Okay, it doesn't mean people that own homes all of a sudden lost value on their homes. Your median price came down to what was selling. It was $535, I think, in January was the median price. Since then, in 3 months, we've gone up 8%. So talking about that downturn, we're now at a median price of $575,000. So when you're talking to, and this is especially, I think, important to talk to buyers about. Everyone's waiting for this prices to continue to come down. We don't have the inventory. We still have the buyers. Realize it's still harder to get loans. I understand that. But the fact is that those buyers that are waiting still going to cost them more money. We're still seeing an upswing. You guys are still seeing some multiple offers. We're seeing it. So talk to your buyers about that. I think that's the biggest concern. Everybody's still looking for that product. They have the ability to buy. we've already erased almost half of that downturn that happened from June to January in 3 months. So, and we're just getting into the real season. So just wanted to kind of speak to that.
Suggestion.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's jump into a few things. So our listing leaders for April. So here, Sandra Sweetland, individual, congratulations. Everybody. Your home team, small team, listing leaders for April, and large team, Mojo. Oh,
Like they had to like sell houses today or
Yeah,
something.
we'll take that. Closing leaders, Fran, congratulations. So, how many listings you take last year?
Four listings for you guys. It's on fire. If you ever need to know how to do it.
It's about time.
36
amazing.
years, you guys, 36 years in this. Small team closing leaders, Compass Group. Congratulations.
Up to India here.
Actually in Italy right now, so. And then large team closing leaders, Mojo Group. So congratulations, everyone. And then we have our, and this is gonna bring you to another question. So these are current, where everyone stands as of April. Okay,
Month
my
today.
question is, so this is month to date, okay? What is important to you guys, and you throw it at home as well, you can tell me afterwards, but do you guys like seeing just our office? Or do you like seeing company-wide? What's more important? Do you want them both? Or you do want them both?
Brian wants to-
Okay. Okay, just checking.
Any other
I'm kinda
feedback?
curious, so.
I agree.
let's
I'd like
check
to see
the
both.
butts. So,
It's not competition, it's just.
well, I agree, but I don't know, I wanna make sure that what we're doing feels like that. So, anyway, so our top individuals for April. You know, followed by Neil, Lauren McMullen, Marcia, Whitney, Stephanie Bothell, Randy Peterson, Leslie Needling, it's our top 20 guys. Charlene Owens, Linda Coleman, Kia Burns, Deborah McFarland. I know you're home, right, Deb?
Yeah.
Okay. Sandra Sweetland, Julius Bland, Jessica Long, Heather Briggs, Foko. I don't
Who
know.
won't go?
Foko.
Are we saying that
Am I
right?
pronouncing that right? Do you know?
I always call her Heather Briggs, because that last one.
I do. Okay. I screwed up, Heather, I'm sorry. Later. Trent Vivian, Sarah Timken, Steve Judd, and Ed Better on our top 20 for April. Congratulations, everyone. And then where we are in the company. So Fran said at number 2, Neil at number 12, Lauren at number 13, Marcia at number 17, Whitney, number 21, Stephanie, number 27, Randy at 31, and Leslie at 33. So good numbers. Small team, led by Compass Group for the month of April. Again, this is all month to date. We've got year to date coming up too. So your Utah Property Source, Your Home, Willow Valley Real Estate, and Abstract Realty. In the company, so number 5, Compass Group, Utah Property Source at 10, Your Home at 11, Willow Valley at 12, and Abstract Realty at 15. I know our team is a big running, 1 or 2. So Elevate, you guys had 2 months, right? Okay, well, Mojo took over again.
Jill's behind you.
April Mojo, Elevate, and then company-wide, number 2 for Mojo, and you guys. Pays that. Never mind. I'll interrupt you all later. So here are your year-to-date numbers. Okay, I'm gonna get into one more thing. You guys like it when I read it at sales meeting? Or do you want to just read it yourself?
I like it when you read it.
I don't think they can.
You like the energy, right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So year to date, no, this is month to date. Why am I?
Did you copy it twice?
I probably should have, you guys.
There's a year today.
Yeah, I kind of got year. We're just gonna go year to date where you are in the company. So Fran, you're at number 5, Julie at number 14, Deborah at number 20, Jessica at 21, Marcia at 25, Lauren at 30, Stephanie at 32, Trent at 36, Neil at 38, Kia at 42, and Carolyn at 45. Those are the top 50 year to date currently throughout Caldwell. So congratulations to everyone.
Well,
I'll fix this for sales meeting. I think I just forgot to swap that slide. For small teams, so current ranking year to date, we've got Compass still at number 1, followed by Your Home, Tracy Burton Team, Utah Property Source, the Beck Team, Warden Hamby, Abstract Realty, Midas, Tooele Valley Real Estate, and K Group Utah. And company rankings, so Compass and Your Home take the 2 and 3rd spot, with Tracy Burton Team at 11, Utah Property Source at 12, the Beck Team at 14, Warden Hamby at 16, Abstract Realty at 19, and Midas Team at 23. Congratulations. And large teams, do I have the right one? Yes, here today. So you guys hold the 2nd and 3rd spots in company-wide for large team. So.
They get it.
Everyone's. Okay. A couple things for today. So I'll be hammering this until this starts, you guys.
I would love everyone that can possibly do it, get into this. If you're selling a home in the Salt Lake Valley, you're already hitting the
Pretty much
threshold.
Qualified.
So, yeah.
And this will probably be their last virtual course. So.
Will it be switching to like in person?
Mhm. So
But
they
it'll
still
probably
do
be
in-person class. So prior to COVID, it was always in person. But you usually had to travel to wherever it was at. So even though they'll be teaching it, it's not always that they teach it in Salt Lake. So the next class will probably be at Jen Blue in Atlanta in October. Okay, so this is the last opportunity to get it virtually. That's what I've been told. Okay, the last opportunity to get this virtually. And again, one of the big reasons I'm pushing it is because I don't know when they're gonna reassess the qualifying price point for a luxury home. Right now, they're low because they haven't reassessed all the market changes and increases over the last so many years. But at some point, they'll reassess that, which will change your threshold in order to qualify. Qualify for the actual designation, you have to sell 3 homes within 2 years of the class, before or after. I had got corrected. But anyway, so I recommend as many of you can get in there because that will give you access to all the assets and there's some really great information actually about if you want to enter that luxury market. So, Clients for Life went out today, you guys. So remember, this is the vacation giveaway. So start pushing that. It will end at the end of this month. So share it on social, via text. We had some pretty good winners. We get a lot more engagement. This historically has been one of our most popular giveaways, the vacation giveaway. And so, yeah, and it gives you a reason, like I said, follow up your SLI to reach out without saying, do you want to buy or sell? Okay.
Mark's not here.
It's not here. Mickey, you want to come on up? You said you had a social tip you want to share?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys don't know Mickey. Mickey is secured lending title.
Guys.
Vicky,
Here.
So touching on what Michael mentioned about bringing some type of value, title get kind of boring sometimes. So I want to start adding some other things that are going to bring value to you guys. So how many of you guys have Googled a business to kind of see their reviews, see what they're all about, the services they provide? Okay, everyone? Big chunk of us, right? So I actually went through everyone's profiles this morning, and only about 20 of you guys actually have Google business pages. So if you don't have one already, make sure that you guys are starting one. That just makes you guys look official, right? If you already have one, there's other little tips that will help get your guys' profile to be seen more often. So if you need those tips, feel free to reach out to me. I have a little list I can send out to you guys on what's going to be working for you guys. So, yes.
Yeah, I love that. And remember, the buyers in today's market, you guys, it's majority of our buyers, I don't know what the interest rate range, but we're millennials. And so they are checking. Most of them go online to look at that. And so if you don't have that, thanks, Mickey.
Yeah, no problem.
And so it is important. I'll admit it. I was selling. I hated all the stuff that I had to start jumping into to make myself relevant in today's agent marketplace, right? I'll admit it, hated it. I still hate it, but it's, if you want to stay relevant, you want to stay consistent with the market, the consumers out there, or digital, right? So, Johnny, you got something?
Wanted to,
Kind of a mix on energy today, you know, put out a little bit.
well, to let you guys know, we had a forecast with Barry Hidby, we sponsored yesterday morning. So if you guys want copies of that video, it's about the market, what's coming up. We can get a copy to you, Bridget or Michael, and you can share that with you guys. So if you want a copy of that, let me know, let Michael or Bridget know, and we'll get you a copy of that. It's just a forecast of what's going on with the market. I priced out a loan today already. Someone with that 780 score, putting about 20% down. And I was at 6.25 with half a point. So rates, when you get this situation, if you need, hey, Johnny, can you just price this out for me? Feel free to reach out to me. I'll be hanging out more often now. So I'll be hanging out, just walk by, here's a scenario, what can you do? Yeah, so let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.
Okay. Reminder, this Thursday, Crystal will be here to teach on the CRM, Moxie Engage 101. So adding contacts, being top of mind with your Moxie CRM at 11 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah. If you haven't ever used a CRM or if you haven't used Moxie, this is a good intro class to come see. What is it? Why should I do it? Do I want to swap from my Excel spreadsheet or whatever you're using? This is a good class to see that. So no commitment required. Just check it out.
Check it out. So, reminder, I'm excited for this. I think it'll be really good, you guys. So it's recession proofing your business. We've got Steve Black's a national trainer and coach and speaker. He's going to be here to place a sales meeting next week. So I think he's about 50 minutes, an hour for his presentation. But again, that'll be in place sales meeting 10 o'clock next Tuesday. We'd love to get as many people here as possible. I do think it'll be beneficial. He's already done Park City, and I think he's spoke at Ogden, and the reviews from the agents, not from the managers. The agents were solid. So anyway.
Well, we talk about the state of the market for a second, right? They're forcing a recession on us, right? Like they need to. I don't know if they need to. Maybe that's an opinion. Anyway, we're looking at a recession. Utah has been fairly insulated in the past. We have seen some dips. We feel it, but we don't feel it to the extent the rest of the country does because our government's run fairly efficiently here. Come take some notes on this, understand what's going on a national basis and how you can insulate your business and plan for it. We are dealing with multiple offers right now, right? But is this like the frenzy before we have a market drop? I don't know. Maybe come do what you can so you can make choices as the market changes and you can be prepared for whatever may come.
Well, I think that's a big thing anyway. Most of you know, market shifts, right? It's never going to be consistent, up or down. It's never going to be consistent. And even when it shifts, it's still staying relevant, staying in front of the clients and best helping them is important. If I can pick up any new tip, any little thing that's going to help me increase my business or be able to plan my business better, then I take it. So I think there's going to be some really great information out of here. So I'd love to see you guys there.
They'll help you pivot one way or another.
Yes.
As things happen.
Yep. So, also this, I just threw this in really quick. So I don't know how many of you, some of you guys may know Laura Cavalcanti. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. Anyone familiar with Boomerang? Anybody used it in the past? Okay. She's going to be here today. I'm hoping, she actually just texted me. She's trying to get here. She spoke in order today. So, but she's with the Boomerang Company and she's trying to get here before end of sales meeting because we have a class right after. If she does not, she only needs about 10 minutes, but I'm excited for her to speak and kind of present this program. Otherwise, if she doesn't make it in time to do so before the class, then she will be here right at noon when that class ends. Okay, so we do just a reminder on that as well. We have a class right after, well, not right after sales meeting, but at 11 o'clock today, regarding divorce and real estate from an attorney that.
All right.
You guys should stay. She's amazing. Our worlds collide a lot.
Yeah.
And she has a recording of a court case where a CMA was like smoking gun.
Really?
Oh, boy.
Really interesting stuff. Yeah. So she's asked me a couple questions in relation to her clients and cases she has going and then vice versa, and just knowing kind of where to defer. And then, I don't know, I have 3 divorced couples right now I'm working with, and it's complicated. Yeah.
It is emotional and everything.
Yeah, so I think she could be a fantastic resource. She's won a bunch of awards. She's just awesome. I love her.
Well, I'm excited. She's.
They say, and we brought donuts for that, so.
And look,
Yeah.
great food. Only get a donut if you stay for class. No donuts unless you stay for class.
Yeah. So light up until it starts.
So we're excited for that.
Good.
Okay.
More donuts.
More stuff.
There you go.
Everybody needs.
Okay, we want to speak to this because it's been coming up and it's becoming a bigger problem. Most of you are aware of it. So everybody getting your wholesale offers, seeing the wholesalers come out. I just had to report one the other day. This is kind of where this conversation started to come from, because we're seeing more and more often them coming up. And unfortunately, there are some telltale signs you can get in an addendum that'll give you an idea that that's what is going on. Okay. The wholesaler, which we got kind of a small example of this flyer. But let's kind of just.
These are 2 contracts that came into our office this week, so we wanted to use them as the teaching moment for you. Also, wholesalers don't have to toe the line the way you do with the division of real estate. They often are private individuals negotiating the option to sell a contract, not a property.
Right.
So they're negotiating to buy it for themselves, which is legal, and then they're selling their contract for a profit, which means that they're taking equity out of the original seller's pocket, and they're doing it wrong. Their contracts are a mess. So be wary if you.
Yeah, they're essentially trying to flip the paper. And so, which they have to do properly for one. The problem is, and where this is a bigger issue, is the seller doesn't know. Right? So oftentimes wholesalers are not fully disclosing what they're doing. If they're an investor, that's one thing. If the seller knows what they're doing and they give permission and they're fine with that, that's the seller's right. You know, there's nothing against an investor trying to make some money on it, as long as they're fully disclosing this to the actual seller and the seller's on board. Otherwise, it's a huge risk, because oftentimes what happens is a wholesaler locks up that property with long due diligence timeframes, whatever it is. They then try to remarket the property. This is where the legality comes into an issue, and where we found it. Fortunately for me, we had an agent in another office call me and let me know that one of the properties we had under contract was being wholesaled. It had been advertised. You guys may have seen some of these lists. I'll send you an email that looks similar to, I'll come back to this. See an email that looks similar to this. We've blacked out a picture on this one, but it'll have a picture of the property, a link to more of them, what the buy now price is, what their inspection is, and then some basic details, and then who to contact, right? And I've received these numerous times, just in, this is available, yada, yada, yada. And what they're trying to do is flip this. They're trying to sell the paper. They don't even own the property, okay? And so, again, where the issue comes with, that's illegal. You cannot advertise, even if you're under contract. You may have have an equitable contract, but you cannot advertise the property without the seller's permission. And this did not have the seller's permission. And so, so this is why I want you guys to be aware of this, because the agent didn't know. There are some things that I want you to look out for when you see.
Is the seller's permission in the listing
We'll
agreement?
show you. We'll show you exactly what it says.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so here's the first one that came over with an offer. It says buyers could be either LLC and or assigns. So, and then the BAC commission to be $750 to buyer's agent, and section 14 of the contract to be assignable. So if you click once, we'll talk about the first thing. This is section 14. This is the complete contract. What the, why is that assignable? Why are we adjusting that? What does
Yeah,
that even
remember,
mean?
you guys, even though it says and or assigns, even this being in here, that does not technically make it assignable. You still
One more
need,
click.
say what?
One more click and it'll pop it up.
Oh, there you go.
Mhm.
Section 19. I was gonna go over that.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. So,
So what they did is that section 14 is assignable, but it's a complete contract. So there's a mistake there. We don't care about that, but obviously they made a mistake. This actually says no assignment, except that, under permissible transfer. So to any,
business entity which buyer holds a legal interest. So basically, if a buyer buys a property, they can assign it to their LLC. They can assign it to their trust. They can assign it to anything that buyer has a principal interest in. But they can't just assign it to some new buyer, right? And that's where a lot of investors think that they can get away with that. They think if they
It's like
put
a
in
loophole.
or assigns, that they then now have the right to assign it. This one does concern me, because with them putting section 14 contract to be assignable, it could be arguable, right? I'm not saying that they would get away with it, because section 19 does say they still need written permission. There is an assignable addendum or assignment addendum that the seller and the buyer need to sign if they're going to do that, okay? But I don't like this because it could potentially cause an issue in court. So just be aware of that. But these are things, again, verbiage to look out for. Another thing, you cannot discuss commissions in an addendum. The contract is between a buyer and a seller. Commissions are not to be discussed in the contract with the buyer and seller. Now, oftentimes you guys have heard me talk about how to get, let's say they're offering 2.5% or 2% BAC, right? And I've discussed how you can negotiate or ask for that extra 1% or 0.5% to make it free, whatever it is. There is one addendum. It's the only way you can do it. And there's a reason behind it. That addendum is that real estate brokerage payment addendum, in which you would put the difference in percentage.
But it
okay?
specifically calls out the seller to pay the buyer's agent, so
Yeah.
it loops it all together,
And
right?
that's why it's a loophole, because it establishes a commission agreement then from the seller to the buyer's brokerage. Okay, whereas our BAC is all cooperation from the MLS. That is just a simple, that is what we are offering another brokerage or another agent to cooperate in selling the property that we have listed. That is between brokerages. It is not between buyer and seller. All your agency contracts are between you, the broker, and the client. So remember that. We don't discuss commissions for that reason. Okay, did you still have it?
There's another contract that investors will try to push you to use. I don't remember what it was, but it has to do with escrow instructions.
So we do have, so the other thing you can't adjust commission price, but again, that's not between a buyer and seller.
Correct.
But the escrow instructions is how we can adjust. So sometimes we've had agents, it depends on the situation, and here's the reason why. And so if you have the conversation with the selling agent, let's say you're going for a higher BAC, right? You have the conversation with the selling agent. They agree that the seller's going to pay more, or the brokerage has decided to up their compensation. The escrow instructions are between the brokers, okay? It's an easy, simple thing. I recommend if you do it that way, get it signed before you sign up the contract. Okay, because once they sign the contract, they're not obligated to escrow instructions. Has to be signed by both brokers. Okay, that can be preferable depending on your client. Some buyers, because you can affect negotiations when you're doing the real estate brokerage payment addendum, that is a negotiation. That then affects the net of what maybe a seller's seeing. So some agents don't like to use it because I still think they should. I still think you need to disclose fully, to your clients, but some people they just don't want to make their client uncomfortable, but they should have had that conversation at the beginning with buyer agency agreement anyway. Okay, so it's not a matter of preference. It really comes down to which works. But if you happen to have the conversation, I like the real estate buyer brokerage payment addendum. 2 reasons. Sometimes the seller does not realize that listing agent has offered less money. And so it does kind of call them out because they're required to present it. Sometimes,
Buyers ask about that form.
Yeah.
And it always just is the same commission.
Yeah.
Debate of how am I supposed to negotiate for you if I can't
negotiate for yourself. Yeah. And so, but either one will work. Again, though, the escrow instructions is not between the buyer and seller. That's completely separate. Can't be discussed in here. The only addendum that does it, the real estate brokerage payment addendum, and that's because it establishes the agreement between the seller and the buyer. Okay. So anyway, things to look out for. Okay, that's one.
Here's the
This
second.
was the other one we got. So obviously they want to use their own escrow. They want the title or the earnest money to be held to that title company for a reason, right? This is another reason I don't like it. We have no control. Once title is holding the earnest money, if there's a dispute on the other side, how do we get it? Right? It looks very beneficial to a seller. Go ahead.
For my investors. So they were in cahoots with the title company. So they were wholesaling. It was the real estate agent was wholesaling and then acting as the listing agent. And then a lot of my investors purchased houses from them to tear down and build new. And they forced us to close with their title company, again, a very reputable title company. And what they were doing was they were taking anywhere from $25,000 to $70,000 and then wiring it to his wife because she didn't have a real estate license and then not putting it on the HUD. And I didn't even notice until contract 6 when the map didn't make sense. And then pulled up all the other contracts and then come to find out, like, he's done this all over town and it's like $1 million lawsuit. And this was with the top agent. So it's crazy.
Well, we even had the case locally, you guys remember a few months ago, an agent people knew, or the title escrow officer people knew. I went up leaving his title company to another one and like stole money, like $500,000.
Bridget, do you remember my transaction, like around this time last year, when like Bridget could like, Jamie and Bridget kept trying to get money, trying to get the escrow officer to wire the money. Took us like 3 weeks for him to actually wire the money and for things to actually get paid. It's that same escrow.
Yeah.
At Synergy Title.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sidebar really quick, actually, before on this, I want to speak about that really quick. It was actually a legal tip, recently that Curtis covered. Earnest money, you guys verify you've received it. Verify the other side has it. Okay, if you're representing a seller and you have a buyer that submits a contract and they say earnest money is $10,000, the buyer's agent isn't required to send you proof of that unless you ask. Okay, they're not required to. I think it's a good practice. I think every single one of you, once you have earnest money, send over that confirmation of earnest money receipt, let them know you received it. Okay, but if you, especially if you're representing a seller, make sure they received the earnest money, get that confirmation. Also, if you are representing a buyer and earnest money does come in, it bounces for whatever reason, anything like that, you're not obligated to make sure they have, I mean, you're obligated to make sure you get the money, but you're obligated to disclose. You have to let the other party know if for some reason earnest money doesn't come in on time or it bounces for whatever reason. That gives the seller the right to know, one, do you have a reputable buyer? I mean, you should be concerned about it anyway, if you're not getting the earnest money that they promise. But that is, and I didn't read the whole court case, but essentially I think there was a $10,000 earnest money that was supposed to come in, was never actually collected. And now they're trying to chase that earnest money down because the buyer never deposited it. I don't know if it bounced or not. I still have to read the whole thing. But this has always been something that's important. You want to verify that earnest money is in. And again, if you're the buyer, if anything goes wrong, it doesn't mean you got a bad buyer. It could be something, but you have to disclose the other side. You have 4 days to have that earnest money. And then we have 4 days to deposit it.
Sorry, I actually have a question about it. Is it 4 business days or 4?
4 days.
Calendar.
4 calendar days. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to have, it has to be in your possession. It doesn't necessarily need to be here at the brokerage. Okay, you have to have received it within 4 days. We have to have it deposited within 4 days of you receiving it. So it's not an 8-day total. You receive it day 1, we have to have it deposited within that 5th day. Okay, so pay attention to those deadlines because they are important, especially when there's any contract disputes or any issues. But anyway, sorry, quick sidebar on that. So back to this.
Quick question on that.
Yes.
So if the earnest money is being wired,
Mhm.
technically we're not in receipt of it. So say we receive a check from our client,
Mhm.
then we have received the earnest money. And then the clock starts for you guys to deposit it.
Deposit, yes.
If it's a wire and it's going straight to the brokerage, that clock doesn't start until the brokerage received it, right?
We'll just go straight to the.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there's no
Yeah, from a deposit standpoint, you're right. We're fine. We're within ours, but you still have to receive that wire within the first 4 days.
Got it.
Okay,
Got it.
so yes, but it would cover us because then it's already in our
Yeah.
account. So at least the broker,
Okay.
that's taken care of.
Yeah.
So, but the biggest thing, the main thing you all want to pay attention to, it's not when we get it. The main thing you all want to pay attention to is when you receive it. Receive it within that 4 days. If it's gonna, and listen, this happens. People sometimes can't meet or whatever. If it's gonna pass that 4th day, you just have to disclose. You have to get permission from the other side that to be extended for a couple of days. It's as simple as an addendum saying, listen, sorry, this hiccup, whatever it is, get it extended, get it signed, and you're fine. The only reason it's currently 4 days is because that's the way the contract reads. If that needs to be changed, if there's an agreement to change it and the seller and buyer both agree to it, you're fine. Just make sure to get it in writing in your demo. And so, but yes, 4 days as it stands, unless changed, to make sure you have the earnest money. And then what I'd recommend if you're representing the seller, if you haven't heard within that 4 days, call and ask where it is. Ask if they received the earnest money and ask for a proof, confirmation of earnest money received, something to that effect that you can put in your file. Okay?
One other thing here, maybe I'm splitting hairs, but earnest money is not a down payment,
No, yeah,
you know, so that could serve to confuse.
yeah, earnest money is not a down payment. So, it goes towards any amounts due for a buyer that's not bringing in, as you all know, but it's not actual down payment. So again, things to look out for. So usually a wholesaler reg is very beneficial to a seller, right? They're gonna cover all the fees, title and escrow. What was the 3,800 on this one? I can't remember. Oh, they were trying to negotiate the BAC again, this one. So, they'll purchase property, seller is, seller not responsible. But the one thing here, they put in there, seller understands buyer is a real estate investor, intends to make a profit either by building, developing, renting, flipping, reselling, assigning, or leasing. Buyer understands and assumes the risks associated with this purchase. That's a great disclosure.
There's an
they've
addendum for
they've
that.
at least put themselves out there as an investor, and that's fine. They never got permission to advertise this property. And this particular wholesaler has actually been fined. He's been in trouble before. And so,
Can you add something? Like,
you can put in a disclosure. I mean, actually, a lot of investors will put the disclosure in
No,
there.
with the disclosure, can
Oh.
you then put, I intend on marketing this property or seller agrees?
You can't, yeah, and that's why I'm saying, if you get written permission, and approval from the seller to advertise the property legally, you can advertise the property. The only thing I do need to verify with that though, because I want to, so I'm gonna follow up on one thing and I'll get back to you guys once I know. I don't know if there's any requirements, anything that we go against with the MLS on that. It's one thing I don't know, I want to verify, but yes, if a buyer has permission from the seller to market or advertise the property, an agent can't. The agent representing them can't. They can't send it back out. They can't be anywhere on it. And they were not on that email
So the investor can advertise with permission.
with
Give
permission.
Permission on an addenda, but then if the buyer's agent were to then,
They can't advertise.
they can't because.
They
in
cannot.
the
Because Then they're in
addenda-
violation of actual MLS rules. They don't have a listing.
Okay.
If they get, so Wyatt did this with some properties in Wendover,
Mhm.
but the contract specifically allowed him to do it, and we had to run it by Connolly to make sure it was good. So Wyatt's client had a property under contract to purchase. Then they hired Wyatt with a listing agreement to advertise the property, and we still had to double check like that contract and this contract, and we called the MLS to make sure we followed all the rules. That's clearly disclosed in the MLS listing. The seller does not have title to this property, but they have the right to sell this property. Call me for questions, right? So,
So again, it's not the wholesaling of the property. It's the seller understands what they're getting into. The seller understands what contract they're signing and what their potential risk can be. Because the problem with most wholesalers.
your hand right, Jason?
Wait,
You're good?
back there. The problem with most wholesalers is what they're doing is they're tying up the property without properly explaining to the seller what they're doing, with no intentions of closing until and if they sell the paper. That's all they're trying to do. Then they try to resell the paper to a buyer that may or may not close. So now you've got a seller that has property off market showing under contract, that's not getting any of the offers, can't sell it to anybody else because they're under contract on a wholesale, and the wholesaler has no intention. That was the thing with this one that really upsets me. You've got to sell it. This seller had needed to sell. Most of us sell what they can sell, but, and all this wholesaler, this investor was gonna do was just tie it up. And if they sold the property, then great. If not, they just cancel.
Is this mostly happening to people who are not represented by an agent?
This was represented by an agent.
We had our,
We,
our listing.
this was a whole thing. So we represented the seller. This is why I said I want you guys to look out for this.
Yeah.
But this was
So
sent
none of these
over.
were accepted. These are just
This was
examples. of what you-
accepted.
This was
No, This was
accepted.
accepted. So this one turned into an issue because, this was an agent. So that's another thing. Be careful, you guys. You will get a reputation. This one was sent over by an agent on behalf of this wholesale. Okay, the offer that was written in here was sent over by an agent. Agents do it. Agents can help as long as you're full, again, here's the thing I want to make clear. It is not illegal. You have what his advertising was, but agents who represent wholesalers, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's fully disclosed to everyone, especially the seller, on what's going on. If the seller understands, they're not doing anything wrong. Investor found a way to maybe make a profit. Seller fully knows what that entails. And there are agents that will represent wholesalers in that and do a decent job of it. I personally don't think it's in a seller's best interest, but who's to say what a seller wants, right? But it has to be disclosed and it has to be done properly. And so that I think is the biggest thing. So if you do happen, and one thing, reputation matters. If you do happen to have a wholesaler you're representing, I'm not even saying that's a bad thing to do. Just know that if it's being done incorrectly, or you do it consistently, you don't want to be known as a wholesale agent necessarily, right? Because they can't, reputation matters in this.
One other point on number 8, there is a specific addendum that's called the disclosure of interest addendum. So if he has a license, he has to.
But this what,
This isn't though.
Yeah.
He's not like, so the buyer here is not an agent. He's hired an agent to negotiate this on his behalf. If you go to the next slide, it'll show that.
What, the wholesaler is not
problem
an
is-
agent?
No,
the whole
no.
thing was not an issue.
Okay.
So the buyer then starts marketing this for himself, right? He sends this out, not his agent. So it's gone like agent to agent. I negotiated a deal with you. Now my buyer is going out and trying to sell this contract to someone else.
What happened with this? So the harder,
I'll go.
the harder one to know if they're wholesaling is when they do a double closing.
Yeah.
Because you won't see any of that.
Right.
But if you have any red flags that you think that they are, just ask them to show you a deal that they did, that they bought, they fixed, and they resold under the same LLC.
Yeah, from a wholesale standpoint.
From a
And again,
wholesale
these are, yeah.
From an investor standpoint,
Yeah,
right? To
from
know that
investors.
you're not a wholesaler if you think that they are.
And again, like I said, if they're wholesaling, you aware of it, you sell us aware of it, that's fine. These are things to look out for. Because sometimes you don't know, right? And that's why we wanted to really focus on this today, because I'm seeing more and more of it, right?
There's
We
a
have
lot
less
of investors out there
Yeah.
that think that they're sharks and they are kind of dumb. So don't get your clients in trouble.
There's this, you get it at an investor class or whatever, and they kind of teach this, teach you away from these. So you all just be very aware of the addendums, come and ask the questions. Check on the property. We would not have known on that. We got lucky on this one mainly because this was advertised to another agent. So then was aware of it, who then called me and said, you got a property under contract, it's with a wholesaler. That agent had actually turned this wholesaler in before, and he'd been fined like $3,500, done it a few times. And that's how I was alerted to it. And so I had a conversation. So to answer your question, what happened? One, I called the one I verified.
Michael got passionate, you guys. He cares a lot about this.
Yeah. I tend to, and if it's you guys, I fight. So, so this one, first I verified that the seller was not aware. I verified that the seller did not know this was going, whether it was in writing or not. I verified the seller did not know this was being marketed, did not know it was a wholesale property, any of that stuff. At that point, I then called and left a message for the broker, who didn't answer, and he's a good broker. And so then I called the agent and laid it to him. Just basically said, you better tell your investor right now to stop all his marketing, pull that off. I will turn him in. I will make sure that he is fined. Secondly, you better pull I want a cancellation of that contract within an hour, because I'm not gonna have our client sitting here with a contract that's not valid because you're wholesale. And the agent was honestly, he's very meek, very quiet, very okay. He knew he was wrong. And literally a cancellation was then probably 30 minutes an hour of that, and it's done. And then I talked to the broker and he's educating his agent as well. According to him, the agent has also cut off all ties with that client, canceled any agency agreements. So hopefully that's the case, but I think the big thing again is just be aware of these. This is happening. And so keep an eye out in order to protect your clients.
This was Joe Homebuyer, was it?
No, but Great one. Also.
I get these texts like every day.
Yeah. So when you'll get those, again, you'll see the ads. I know that I see them for a long time. Not anymore, so. Does anybody have any questions on that? Anything more? Okay.
Tell us the name of who that buyer was.
Elevated
I will
Homes
find it,
LLC.
honestly. Where is it?
I forgot. It's Elevated Homes.
Yeah, so it's Elevated Homes LLC. That's how they're making their offers.
That worked with them too.
Advertise a property they didn't have permission to
Yeah,
advertise.
so that was just broke. So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that was their primary thing. They were advertising the property illegally. For me, you know, my issue was regardless of them doing that, seller did not, even if they agreed to advertise the property, right? And the seller had agreed to it. My concern is whether it was explained to the seller what that actually meant.
Yeah.
Right? They can agree to it, but I think if you guys ever get that and your seller's okay with that, that explains what that means and what likely could happen, because they hold it off market. They don't get it resold and then all of a sudden they just cancel the contract. Right? There's no risk to the seller or to the buyer because they're not gonna ever actually out any money because they'll just cancel it before.
Well, and how angry is your client if they just negotiated for 230 and it's being listed at 269? If your client sees that, they're pissed at you for letting them take that other deal if it could go for this. And then this inspection is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. They're holding the house open and saying, come parade through this house and see if you want to make an offer, right? Like, that's crap.
Well, and that's how
Really
they're doing it, exactly. They're coming in pretending like they're doing the inspections for themselves, not that they're actually showing it to potential.
Was that
buyers.
Craig's last ad?
This was not.
No,
This was
this
an
was an
actual
email.
email. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's out, but no, this was an actual email that looks like it makes sense. And it's sent out to just a mass email list of, I don't know who all hit it or get it. I used to get this. I used to see these, but it's not, it usually doesn't go to most agents. Like unless you're on some type of list because the agent's open. So, but it does happen. So.
I watch my Supra, like when I know I have an investment property and like things like that, like how it shows like a 10 a.m. open.
Mhm.
I check my Supras.
Right, see what's going
Whenever
on.
an agent has opened it. And if they have not texted me and authorized to be there, and then I'll show up. Like if I see my Supra go up, I will show up. Because they do a lot with investment properties.
And sometimes even they'll schedule a showing. Here's the other, sometimes they'll schedule the showing, you don't know.
Yeah.
But they're actually walking through a buyer. Marcia.
So they tell the sellers that they're having an inspection for like.
That's what
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Wednesday, and they actually have an open house.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So a lot of times they will do like an
Right.
open call, like, come check it out, see if you want to make an offer, right? And so they'll have a parade of people walk through the house and then they're all bidding against each other.
well, what, I mean, probably, like the way they're doing it, but if
Yeah.
they're scheduling the inspection, how are you supposed to tell?
Crazy.
Because it could be inspected.
Very
it could be third party.
Just give everybody a tape measure walking through the door and they're all inspectors.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, if you guys have any questions, concerns, if you have an addendum that comes through, you're curious about, if you're wondering about the verbiage, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, just be aware that this is happening.
Yeah.
Ask the questions. Remember, your job, your fiduciary duty is to verify your buyers as well. Make sure that anybody you're having the conversation with your client about is a verified buyer as best as your ability, right? Obviously, you don't know for sure.
Another thing that we see is number 19 completely crossed out entirely with 2 initials on the inside.
Yeah, also remember that, you guys, you can't cross out and line out stuff on the contract. You can't modify the actual contract except by addendum. You can't line things out or initial next to it. That's not how it's done. If you need to change anything in the contract, it has to be done.
If you see that, send it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fix it and send it to me again.
Put the center addendum. Yeah.
But that's another sign that it's gonna be an assignment.
Yeah.
Is they'll cross that out thinking that, oh,
Just
stash
get
it.
rid of it. Yeah.
And my initial there means it was intentional.
Okay. So, okay. Some quick info. Hopefully. Just a reminder, Salt Lake County's, I don't know, I forgot to grab this, sorry. Their bus tours are Thursdays, 9:30 to 12, and remember, they do divide them up. So by quadrant, so southeast, southwest, northeast, northwest. I just don't remember what this Thursday is, but we'll try to get that scheduled for you. Again, these are great for networking. They're great for getting your home if you're looking for feedback. It's great for getting it out there, feedback from other agents, pricing, condition, anything like that that may help you if you're having discussions with your sellers. That's one of the reasons I loved doing bus tours. And so was that information.
Added another slide after you saw it. Surprise.
And there you go. And this is Twills.
School is, property tour is actually scheduled for the 25th of May. It's like private caravan, so you can go with a group of agents, buddy up with someone. I'm actually going to this one, so if you'd like to go to the Tooele County property tours, I have 5 seats in my car. You're welcome. Then they go to lunch with the whole board afterward and network there too.
So check this out. Twills is the last Thursday of every month, so you guys know.
And
go
then,
ahead.
and then T-Car Charities. T-Car is a much smaller board than the Salt Lake Board of Realtors, so they're
didn't
funding,
know.
in case you didn't know, it's kind of small too. They're doing a $5,000 home buyer grant. This is their fundraiser for it. If you like to play softball, let me know. I would really like help filling up a softball team, a Caldwell team. I'm actually, Stephanie Bothell says she's not playing, but I think she'll come and support. And Cecil Hawthorne is in, Dustin Erickson's working on it. So we have some other Caldwell agents that are members of T-Car. You don't have to be a member. If you like softball, I'd like you to come play because we're not real golf. It's a lot of fun. Yes. I played softball in high school, but I have not played since then. So
We used to do co-ed teams in real estate a while ago, and I will not lie, this is not a knock on the brokerage. I hated playing against them. Those guys took fun on it. They were way too serious. I mean, you'd see fights, everything. Now, that was them then. I'm not speaking to anybody now, but whoever it was on that team before, they just couldn't relax. Anyway, reminder, shred events about a week and a half away, you guys. So if you're planning, you still have a week and a half to get some marketing and information out. 10 to noon next Saturday, May 20th. So, boy, I hope this works. Did you share sound?
I think I did.
Okay. If you don't have sound at home, guys, I'm sorry. But Gen Blue is now open for registration. If you're going or thinking of going, currently we are, a lot of people have booked the Hyatt Regency, which is where the convention is being held. They always give usually 3 hotel blocks. Hotel blocks are out, it's kind of rates right now. Even if you're not sure, but you think you might go, remember you can cancel your hotel. But I'd recommend booking if you want to stay with, the group, as many people as possible. We're trying to get as many of our office and Codewell agents from Utah in that hotel. But that is open, genblueexperience.com for registration. October, I thought the dates were over here. Let's see this dates. Oh, God.
Gotta move the mouse.
Yes, this is my push, not a big betting thing. We need to. I didn't watch this timer. May just be flowing. There we go. I got the date. That's what I was going for. Okay, October 16th through 19th, registration's open.
Early
Early
bird rate is 7:40 through the end of June, and then it goes to 8:49 on July 1st.
749.
Yes, sir.
It's gone up.
Yes, sir.
Right on.
I didn't price it, so you know.
She's
I'm
like,
not responsible for pricing, so.
PR slap.
But, okay. Let's scoop this up. Also, quick reminder, Gold Maker, first one at Hill Air Force Base Golf Tournament for the Foundation, June 6th. If you haven't started getting in your foursomes or interested, do so because it will fill up. You can send them to me, Bridget, Beth, whatever you want to do, just let us know. So, I'll let you start on this because I need to forward her slides to your computer.
I can read it.
great. Lauren.
Yeah,
I got your
Hey, Lester Pell.
it's okay. I can read it if you
Okay.
need.
She's gonna go through the listings really quick and
You gotta talk about your listing, Lauren.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. It's one of the units that faces Murray Holiday, so it has 3 big picture windows. It's been completely updated inside, new kitchen. It's 823 square feet, so it's the same size as the 2-bed, 1-bath, but single bedroom. 285. Oops.
Oh, she gave it away. 285, good. All right.
Open house this Saturday.
1408 West Salvia Place. Teresa, do you want to talk about it?
3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Everybody wants to get the price if they haven't seen it already. We do have multiple offers.
Oh, you
I-
tomorrow. Okay. So if you have anyone that would be interested, make it quick.
The HOA covers water, sewer, maintenance. Not approved FHA, seller was going to finance, he's actually really interested in seller financing.
Okay. What kind of terms on seller financing?
He wants minimum 10% down and it's flexible.
Okay.
On rate, the term, max 3 years.
3 years. Okay. All right. 10481 South Crocus Street. Courtney Wild. She's not here. 3 and 2.
That's what I'm thinking,
Okay.
about 18.
4-bed, 1 3/4 bath, 1,800 square feet on 0.2 acres. Any price guesses?
549.
In the,
549, 560. Okay. 520.
at the sake of time, you guys, we're gonna skip the guessing on this one for the next ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danny Griffith has a new one in Tooele. 4-bedroom, got 3 baths. 2,100 square feet, 438,000. That's a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
2293 South, 700 East. Jill, you want to talk about this?
It's 3 bedrooms, baths. It's on 7th East, but you cannot hear 7th East at all inside the house. It's replaced with laser cut windows throughout the house, so and new doors. And they have a new vinyl fence in front, so it is soundproof.
Where's the street?
That's right.
Which side of the street?
It's on the east side of.
Okay. Fran has a new one on Wilmington Circle, 5-bedroom, and it's got 3 bathrooms, 1 full bath and 2 3/4 baths.
Brandon, did you want to say anything about it? You gonna-
It's a great little house.
That's a ditch.
You're gonna see, I moved it out with the dogs and the kids, so we just stayed anytime.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, Raquel and Jenny have a new one, 724 South 7th East. Jenny, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so this one is super cute on the inside, you guys. It's right down by Trolley Square, walkable. It is on 7th East, but it's, you can pretty much walk anywhere from right there. All redone on the inside. 3 bedrooms, 1.5.
Okay, 650. Marcia White has one in Salt Lake on Casino Way. 4-bedroom, 3 baths. It's 1 full bath and 2 3/4 baths. 3,100 square feet. 600,000. And there's no pets allowed in the play area. Sorry,
Just in the play area?
that's what it said. 5478 West Windmill Drive, Richard Crossley's new listing. That's a beautiful picture. 6-bedroom, 3.5 baths, 3,700 square feet, just over a 1/4 acre. 784.9.
Yeah, okay.
And that's that.
Awesome. You guys want to show out wants and needs right now? I'm gonna pull up this other.
What have you got coming up?
Listing at 68 stairs.
Layered.
Yeah.
Okay.
About 1 square feet, 3-bed, 1 bath. It's in really good shape, but it's due for a makeover. Super good spaces, hardwoods, again, good condition, but it's really.
So is this contract signable?
Okay.
What's your asking price?
We're gonna be probably 720.
And where
We also have a 2-car garage, 0.13 of an acre,
1600,
between the 1,600, 1,700 each block.
Okay, I saw, shot it.
I'm just looking for horse property on the west bench for under 480.
Okay.
Anything that anybody might have. Horse property.
Where's property? Okay. Does it matter where? Like heroin
West
bench? Anywhere along the mountain? Anywhere along the mountain?
Taylorsville.
Okay.
Back to the mountain.
Okay.
Anything. Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard one.
Prestigious West Bench.
Okay. Avery?
I'm looking for pretty much a townhome, condo, single family home, doesn't really matter what it is, under 850-ish. A couple miles within the university area. So if you have anything coming up near the university, I'll talk to you about Laird. Believe me, it's on my radar, but anybody else has anything coming up, let me know. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? No? All right, Randall?
I was listening to the recording, last week's meeting, someone said they had property in Duchesne or Vernal.
Me, I've got 2 lots.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
Okay.
They're 2.5 each.
All right. All right, you guys, let us know what you want out of your sales meetings,
Do it.
okay?
Okay, really quick, Laura,
Yeah.
really quick, you wanna-
I would love to. Thank you.
You're welcome.
To the right, perfect. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I think it's
Morning.
morning. I'm Laura with Boomerang. Does anybody know about Boomerang?
Do now.
Oh, good. Awesome. So Boomerang was started by a couple agents in Colorado 12 years ago. They're sending out the Broncos schedules and the recipe cards, and they're like, oh, we got to up our game. So they came up with this idea to partner with local restaurants, and every month we feature something free from that local restaurant or event. So, for example, this is the front of the card. You guys all have them in front of you. They change every single month, and your clients always receive the card closest to their house. So on the front of the card, it will say compliments of your name and company name. And then the back of the card will have your beautiful face, all of your contact information, your logo, and then you can put a tagline, so a call to action. Are you guys with me so far? Cool. So we partner with thousands of businesses. Some of them are national chains, others are mom and pop. It just depends what cities we're in. We have coverage in Weber Davis all the way down to St. George, and we launched Park City as well. So you can take your SOI list, plug it into our system, and your clients automatically receive the offer closest to their home, which is really nice because then they can use it. We've even done free skiing at Brighton Ski Resort. So if you think about it, you just sent your clients $100 in value because a lift ticket's pretty expensive. Vessel Kitchen. I live in Denver, but every time I come, I eat there. I love it. $10 free at Whole Foods. Your clients can just go get $10 of whatever, apples. I don't know, whatever they want, bath bombs, it doesn't matter. But I mean, you can see it's high value stuff that when they get it in the mail amongst their white mail and bills, it stands out. It's 100% open rate because they have to get the mail, and it's high value, so they're gonna look at it. Now, whether they put it in their car and your face rides around with them until they use it, or they throw it away, it doesn't matter. You're staying top of mind in a high value way where you're basically saying thank you to your clients instead of, look at me, I'm a realtor. Which I think there's a place for that too. But this is a feel-good product, you know what I mean? As I mentioned before, this is good. So we partnered with Moxie this year. So now when you sign up, you can just simply upload your database from Moxie into our system. It connects. It's great. It's really easy. And then your clients get the offer closest to their home. So if you have one that lives in Ogden, one in Park City, one in Provo, one in Sandy, whatever, they get the offer closest to their home. All of the offers are preset for the year, so you don't get to choose, which you don't want to choose. It's just, you want to set it and forget it, easy. Just know that these are some of the offers your clients will see. It's just all good stuff. To sign up, you just go to our website and create an account. The website's on the back of our card as well. So if you forget, it's here. If you have Moxie, it'll take a couple minutes. If you don't, it's still like 5 minutes to create an account.
What's the cost?
Oh,
You beat me to it.
Okay.
So monthly is 99 cents per card, and that's your only cost. So say you're a new agent, you have 10 people in your database, it's $10 a month, and that's it. So hopefully you have more than 10 people. Yes.
Can you decide who gets something within your Moxie and who doesn't?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
Trying to write this down.
Or the other option, like say you have a lot of marketing going out and you don't want to do it monthly, you can do every other month, which is $1.09 per card. We do have unmailed cards or non-mailed. So if you want these, they'll come to you in bulk, and then you can take them to open houses, you can take them door knocking, you can leave them around the community. So they're another great tool to have on hand. And sometimes if it's a good offer, your clients will be like, can I get another one? So it's always good to have like an extra 20, and they're 20 cents less.
What's turnaround time on these typically?
So if you sign up by May 20th, they'll hit homes June 15th or 20th, and it's always on that schedule.
Okay.
Is there data? Do you have data that after they scan it to show who, when, where?
We collect the cards as a whole from the businesses. Is that what you're asking? But not individually.
No, I mean more like, would we have access to the data?
Can you trace
Whether or not marketing
effectiveness is what she's
actually
asking.
working and successful?
You will be able to trace effectiveness based on how many people call you and thank you for the cards. You can put a QR code on your card. I don't know how many people scan QR codes, but if that makes you feel better, do that. Through doing this for 10 years, I can tell you 8 billion stories of people who are like, I just kept sending this to my SOI. 8 years later, I went to the guy's house. He had Boomerang on his refrigerator. And he's like, I know for a fact if I didn't send Boomerang over all these years, he wouldn't have called me. Because everyone knows 10 agents. So it's like, you got to stay top of mind in a way that is value. And redemption rates, as far as that goes, the goal is 1%, and we've seen up to 17% redemption on a salad place in Colorado. It's like retarded, but I guess we're healthy.
Like if something is statistically super low for an extended period of time, do you guys remove it off? Or would you guys do something
Yes.
similar the next year?
No, we always run like this. We'll only rerun it again the next year if it had a really high redemption rate. But we always like to introduce new upcoming businesses as well. So we do both. Cool. I saw another, yes, sir.
I just want to say, I've been using Boomerang for about 5 years, and I think it's been one of the most effective, cheapest advertising there is, even though that's my one-touch no-no. And I do get calls. People like, hey, I was at a barbecue just last Saturday. Hey, I'm downtown, got my free drink, thanks. I mean, it is something that they will call you and say, hey, I love my new bun cake, or.
It's so weird.
It's for $1. I mean, they do like, buy one, get one free at Rodizio Grill. It cost me $1. But for them, it saved them 30. And I can attest to the Brighton tickets. And that was one I was like, hey, I want more of these deals.
I would have kept. I'm just kidding. There's your season pass right there.
I spend like $200 a month, but I think it's a great piece.
Thank you.
I use it all the time.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's the feedback I hear all the time. That's what keeps me employed. Otherwise, I would quit. I'm going to sell a crappy product. Okay. We talked about Moxie. If you co-op, if you work with a lender, you can farm an area. That's another good way to do it. That's it. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, if you get the non-mailed ones, do you get a variety of cards?
You will get, yeah, you can. It's a minimum of 20. So when you're signing up, you'll see upcoming offers, the image of it, and you can check a box like, I want 20 of this, and then I also want 20 of that. Or you can just do 21 thing. So yes, you can.
Okay.
And it can be more than 22. Yes.
What if our clients are across the country? Like,
Oh, yeah.
scattered? We can send them.
Yeah.
And it will go to their state with the.
Yeah. So but look on our website under offers, there's an interactive map with dots all over it. Make sure they're like in a 15 to 20 mile radius of where we have coverage, otherwise don't. Yeah. Cool. Great, thank you. Sorry I'm so
No,
late,
good.
but
No,
thank you.
Actually, we got lost on the road for talking.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you guys stick around for the class. We're gonna swap out computers and get this up and going. So.
You come get a donut.
You guys gonna do the class?
And yeah, go get a divorce donut.
Divorce donut.
Yeah.
Is this CD?
I was thinking of a farm.